Moving right along into the Utopia section now. While it would seem that we are naturally heading towards an era of unprecedented peace through technology and other means, we still have wars and tremendous human suffering here on Earth. We live in a world of paradox, of great duality. We have taller buildings but shorter tempers, wider freeways but narrower viewpoints. We retain more information but have less wisdom. We have more options for leisure and less fun. More conveniences, yet less time. We have more medicine and medical options, yet less wellness. More kinds of food available, but less nutrition. We have more media outlets, but less communication. More acquaintances, but fewer friends. We have increased our possessions, but reduced our values. We have conquered outer space, but neglected inner space. We have smashed the atom, but not our prejudices. Envisioning an end to money and free energy for all is just the beginning. The golden age for humanity is right around the corner, but we can never forget, no matter the question, love is always the answer. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato penned the first recorded proposal on how to create a utopian society in his book called The Republic. It was part conversation, part fictional depiction, and part policy proposal. The Republic offered a categorization of citizens into socioeconomic classes in order to determine who can become the best leaders. The top tier, quote, golden citizens are trained in a rigorous 50-year-long educational program to become benign oligarchs. The wisdom of the philosopher kings would eliminate poverty and deprivation through fairly distributed resources. Wouldn't it be great if we could get the politicians in Washington to be the philosopher kings of Plato's time? This is an image of the electromagnetic spectrum of visible light surrounding our galaxy. The middle strip is of the Milky Way galaxy. The electromagnetic spectrum extends from low frequencies used for modern radio to gamma radiation at the short wavelength end, covering wavelengths from thousands of kilometers down to a fraction of the size of an atom. Electricity is present everywhere in the universe and here on Earth. It has been identified from beneath our feet, in animals and plants, our biosphere, and out to the farthest reaches of the universe. In general, electricity is present wherever we find plasma, and since 99% of the visible universe is in the plasma state, magnetic fields and electric currents are nearly everywhere. All living things, including humans, and even solid objects such as crystals, manifest an aura in a very subtle way. Often reading energy fields is held to be perceptible, spontaneous, and painless for some. And for others, it is a lifetime of devotion to training and practice. Such perceptions have been compared to the third eye of Hindu spirituality. Each color of the aura has a meaning, indicating a precise emotional state. Auras are not actual light, but a sensory reading or perception added to the reader's visual processing. Auras cannot be seen in complete darkness and cannot be seen unless some portion of the person or object emitting the aura can also be seen. Auras are connected with clairvoyance, the individual spirit, and their etheric body, or the lowest layer in the, quote, human energy field. The etheric body is in immediate contact with the physical body to sustain it and connect it with the higher bodies. Auras are mental and emotional emanations. We can only visually decode less than 10% of the known spectrum of light energies. Can you honestly sit there and tell me there is nothing else beyond the wavelengths we've discovered thus far? Can you also tell me that there is absolutely no chance of other entities or beings that exist within our vibrational wavelengths or another energetic spectrum? What humans can see and hear is very limited in the grand scheme of things, to say the least. Nikola Tesla was born at the stroke of midnight on July 10, 1856, with lightning striking during a summer storm. He was born to a Serbian family in Smiljan, in what is today considered Croatia. The midwife commented when he was born, "He will be a child of the storm," to which his mother replied, "No, to of light." As an adult, Dr. Tesla not only wanted to give the world free energy, but Tesla developed components of technology whereby it could be accomplished. Tesla was a physicist, inventor, and electrical engineer of unusual intellectual brilliance and practical achievement. He was of Serb descent, but most of his work was conducted here in the United States. Tesla's investors dropped his free energy project when they realized that there was no way to meter the power to make money on the end user. We've been trying to catch up for 100 years now and are still far beyond what he was with his understanding of radiant energy. With reportedly over 700 patents awarded to him worldwide, no wonder it has taken us so long to catch up. The man who shaped the 20th century with his invention of the radio, radar, X-ray, AC power, and the induction motor is now shaping the 21st century as we finally begin implementing his methods of tapping and distributing free energy. Another method of creating free energy is cold fusion, which has been replicated by hundreds of world-class laboratories, including several in the Navy, Los Alamos, and national labs in the US, France, Italy, China, and India, and at dozens of corporations including Mitsubishi, Toyota, and Amoco. Hundreds of peer-reviewed papers in mainstream journals have been published describing these replications. But why are these energies not widespread breakthroughs by now? Since April 8, 1987, Floyd Sweet here has had a device to eliminate our dependence on fossil fuels. So many others have. Tom Bearden has personally witnessed and videotaped the device working. He's another inventor of free energy devices. But like many before him, and some after, these devices never seem to ever see the light of day. It is important to mention that all the free energy principles in this device and others do not ever break the law of thermodynamics or the law of the conservation of energy. They have always operated as, quote, open systems, which have two energy inputs. One is from the user's input to get the process started, and the second energy input comes from the environment, which thus allows excess energy to be produced by the device. The most common method of extracting clean and sustainable energy is an effect based on magnetic fields that generate a continual motion of magnetized rollers around magnetized rings, also called plates, which produce electrical energy.
The late Floyd "Sparky" Sweet is credited with creating a breakthrough magnetic solid-state motor. A magnetic specialist with a distinguished industrial career, Sweet was a man whose technical claims could not be easily dismissed. Many credible witnesses saw his device work, and Toby Groats was able to photograph these demonstrations.
This is Floyd Sweet's vacuum triode amplifier, powering two 100-watt incandescent lamps and a small DC motor. The term vacuum triode amplifier, or VTA, is a word that was coined by Tom Bearden in order to explain the phenomenon of how energy from the zero-point energy state was coupled into Floyd Sweet's over unity free energy device. The hardware configured in this photograph was set up and run, producing in excess of over 2 million to 1 power gain. It's definitely one of the outstanding examples of how zero-point energy over unity devices can be made to actually function and work.
Both motor-run and motionless devices share commonalities. The device can establish or entrain a flow to the zero-point energy field using high-frequency electromagnetic fields. With the zero-point energy entrained by the electric current, the currency is suddenly stopped with a precise timing device. When the electron flow suddenly stops, a quote, radiant energy event then occurs, which releases a pulse of energy far in excess of the original current flow. The pulse is captured to some degree by a transducer that converts the radiant energy back to a usable form and presumably into the grid for wider distribution. The discovery of the long-sought Higgs boson, or the, quote, God particle, is a new elusive particle thought to help explain why matter has mass, a gateway to a new era that could see humanity unlock some of the universe's greatest mysteries, including dark matter. The July 2012 announcement was hailed as a huge moment for science by physicists at the Large Hadron Collider at the CERN faculty in Geneva, Switzerland. Scientists hailed the announcement, speculating that it could one day make light speed travel possible by, quote, unmassing objects, also teleportation, or allowing huge items to be launched into space by, quote, switching off the Higgs. CERN scientists likened it to the discovery of electricity, when humanity could never have imagined its future applications. There is a sturdy theory for how much the universe works. All of the particles that make up atoms and molecules and all of the matter we see, most of the forces that direct them, and a small zoo of more exotic particles. This is called the standard model of physics. However, there is a glaring hole in this theory. It does not explain how it is that some of these particles gain their mass. The Higgs boson would prove to be something a bit different. It would point to all sorts of new physics, the new model of physics that might have something to do with dark matter, that is, the hypothetical invisible matter thought to make up much of the universe. Moving right along, I ask you, what would our world be like without money? Is it possible? First, we could end inequality around the world. Next, it would end the corruption rife in government and with big banks. For example, largely ignored by the mainstream media in this country, while most Americans are blissfully ignorant watching their favorite sitcoms, the LIBOR scandal is the epitome of the total corruption that has taken over Western governments and their financial systems, allowing the money masters in central banking to control the real wealth of the United States and many other European nations. Not only as it sheds light on the blatant and shameless criminal acts of the banking mafia system, but as it outlines their ruthless and cavalier audacity to continue their open robbery of the American people and the world, even after being discovered at their crimes again and again. To achieve utopia, we need to focus our thoughts on what is really important in life. Don't pay attention to the peripherals. This is the indoctrination of the system we live under. As soon as someone refuses to abide by this rule and they focus on the peripherals, they are called a whole list of derogatory names, such as a weirdo, conspiracy theorist, idiot, rebel, rogue, anarchists, and other labels. Certainly don't want to be called a weirdo. Each of us has the choice to create our lives so that we may participate in the utopian world that will manifest on earth after this ascension process has been completed. Let's never forget the end goal is a world without poverty, hunger, or pain for anybody. Nobody gets left behind. Developing a new human abilities for ourselves are also in the realm of possibilities. A new world where full body levitation, spontaneous healings, instant telepathic communication, and other seemingly superhuman abilities may become possible in our lifetimes. It is an age where abundant love and sharing will be the only currency and the new law of the land. The only thing that ever mattered was how much love you were willing to share while you were incarnated here on earth. But of course, we are told none of this. We need to figure it out for ourselves. But never forget that the truth will always stand on its own for all time. Truth is a constant in the universe. Finally, I want to express that we are unlimited beings. We have no ceiling. The capabilities and the talents and the gifts and the power that is within every single individual that is on this planet is unlimited. That said, I'd like to invite you all back in 1 year for the presentation of Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses, the next book in this esoteric series, which is based on unleashing the full human potential, plus an examination of our storied history on Earth through a different lens, and dismantling a few of those pesky roadblocks in the way of keeping us from the greatest dawning of physical and spiritual evolution this planet has ever seen. We are the rising phoenix of humanity's first great awakening, and it begins with each and every one of us. Thank you all for coming tonight.